Hello there, class. How are you? I hope you guys are all doing awesome. I'm so excited to be here again with you today to see all your bright smiling faces and black boxes. For those who don't have their cameras on, that's totally fine too. Really grateful to be here at the West Bank. The Andex team is here with me, and they have been absolute champs, helping me all throughout this course, making it look as good as this does right here. They've also been really willing to work with all the different curveballs that I've thrown their way, and there have been some. I think I had Chris over back there behind the computer sweating it this last little while as we were trying to implement some new system into kind of what we were doing. So pretty awesome. Hey there, Jana. Hey there, Jana's son. How are you? He was waving, so I had to make sure to call him on it. So this is the time where I stall for a few minutes until everyone gets here to actually be able to come and attend. But once again, I just want to thank everybody for being a part of this course. It really has been absolutely fantastic, and I'm grateful to have had the chance to be able to teach this course and to be able to work with each and every one of you individually. For the most part, I've had a lot of members of the course reach out to me for different things and have taken advantage of the office hours. If you haven't yet, I still encourage you to do so. That's completely open. I'm here to be a resource to you as much as I possibly can be. This course is brought to you by the Idaho Innovation Center in conjunction with the Greater Idaho Falls Chamber of Commerce, the Idaho Small Business Development Center, Vulpine Marketing, and of course Andex. So we want to absolutely thank the sponsors and the companies that have made this happen. I'll be your teacher today. I am Ryan Jose, the owner and the founder of Vulpine Marketing. But first off, I just want to say I'm inspired. Let's go ahead and let's go back to the presentation here. I am absolutely inspired. I'm so impressed with what has happened so far over the course of this course. There have been so many people who have reached out to me with various questions. We've been able to help them get some good things set up, and here's just a few examples of it. We were able to set up several Google My Business listings. So Tanyan, she's been a part of this course for a while. We got her Google My Business listing set up. Here's a screenshot. Within a few days, she already had like eight or 10 5-star reviews. I think this is an older screenshot. She has done fantastic as far as that goes. We got Bryce's Google My Business listing set up. He's another realtor that's part of the course. Susan's reached out to me, and we got hers set up there for Stuckey Construction. Awesome. Really glad to see that. I believe Steve Pinther, he has requested his and is receiving that mail verification. So that's awesome. I love seeing people getting their Google listings set up and just really implementing the course material into their business to kind of help them be able to take their digital marketing to the next level. It's awesome. Also, we've been working with Jana, working on getting her website up here for Judo Fit. It's looking really good. We're still working on that, but that's going to be awesome. Angel has reached out to me as well, and we're going to be working on making a website for him and getting that up and running and operating. So really exciting things that are happening within this course. Just really grateful to be a part of it. Maria has been awesome. She's been all over social media. She's been doing these Facebook Live videos with these different businesses. Absolutely love seeing her getting out there and doing this and kind of showcasing these different businesses that she's trying to highlight. Really cool. And I'm just grateful I was able to be here to be kind of a part of it with all of you. You're inspiring. But what you might be thinking now is like, okay, we've gone over a lot of this course material. We've been doing a bunch of different things together, but like, well, what now? Now what? What do we need to be working on now? What's kind of the next step for us? And as we kind of discuss all these different strategies, like that's all well and good, but the real, where it really kind of the rubber meets the road kind of a thing is deciding which strategies to implement. And there's so many different strategies that we didn't discuss that really could be super advantageous for us. There's things like email marketing that we didn't even really touch in this course. There's so many other opportunities, but I feel like we've covered enough that there's enough opportunity for a lot of us to get started and be working on some different things. So we have some decisions to make. We need to determine, of all the strategies, of all the marketing avenues that we've discussed, which one's going to be the best for our business. And so there are a few things that we probably just need to ask ourselves. And that is, like, what part of kind of the sales funnel are we trying to target? What are we needing the most, right? So we have this sales funnel graphic here that I made up. And it kind of has these different kind of portions of the sales funnel. I'm sure a lot of you are very familiar with this, and I'm sure you've seen it elsewhere. It's not anything new by any means. I did not make this up. This is pretty wide known. That there's just kind of these different portions of this process that a person goes through before they actually like invest in your product, your services, before they retain you, before they do whatever, right? That's kind of this process that goes through, and this funnel represents all those different portions of that. So up there at the very top, that awareness portion. This is, as you can kind of see here, that's the top of funnel. That's what some people refer to this as. Top of funnel, kind of general awareness portion of it. There you can see that portion is really a good ways away from making any consumer decision. There are ways from making that sale. There are ways from reaching out to you and becoming a client, but that's kind of where a lot of this starts is, okay, people know about you. And this is kind of a definition that I found. It says prospects learn about your existing solution, product or service. They might also become aware of the problems that they need to solve and the possible ways to be able to deal with them, right? So this portion, they just know that you exist, that you are an option, or they understand that there is a problem that needs to be solved potentially. There's those two different aspects of it, and we need to differentiate them because sometimes with kind of the mental state that they're in, they may not be thinking of you, and we're going to be talking about that. Oh, Volpine Marketing. Wonder who they are, what they do, right? That's kind of that awareness, right? Okay, they might be aware of me. But then they think, oh, they're thinking about the problem that I solved, right? We offer digital marketing solutions, right? We are kind of a solution to that problem, right? So then they're thinking, I wonder if I should be thinking about digital marketing for my company. Because I'll present to them and say, hey, business owner, digital marketing is something you should absolutely be thinking of. Welcome to the 21st century. We can no longer really rely on phone books. There's all this kind of digital transformation and adjustment that needs to happen for your marketing. And so they're thinking about that. But then they might be thinking more about digital marketing really than they are about Volpine marketing. So we've helped them realize that there's maybe a problem that needs to be solved, but they might not be really thinking about us yet. Right? So this is the note, right? They're thinking more probably about the problem than they are necessarily about Volpine Marketing or JudoFit or Steve Pinther or whatever it is, right? They're thinking more about the fact that they might have a problem that needs to be solved than you. So this next phase, the prospect interest phase, or interest portion of the funnel, prospect is actively looking for solutions to their problems and ways to achieve their goals. Okay, cool, right? I really should be doing something about digital marketing. That ad I saw or whatever it is made me realize that there might be an opportunity or there might be a problem or that needs to be solved. Digital marketing, yeah, that would probably be a good thing to invest in, right? And once again, if we kind of come back to this, we have to understand that this consumer cycle is complex, right? This is a potential, this is kind of a hypothetical consumer journey that might occur. That this is long. There's a lot of different stops. There's a lot of different brand touch points that could happen before this individual actually becomes a client, right? So we have to be aware that this is kind of more typical of what happens than they see your ad, they immediately decide that they need digital marketing and they call me. That's just not how things typically work. So the consideration phase. Prospect is making the decision that he or she wants to take advantage of your solution. And that solution doesn't even necessarily mean my solution, that I have a problem that I'm solving. So they're looking for a solution to this, and they may be considering alternatives. They may not be considering Volpine Marketing for this, right? They might be thinking, I wonder if I can do it myself. I feel like this is the way typical flow, right? Whenever there's a problem that arises, a lot of times you'll think, oh, can I solve this myself? Do I need to rely on someone else to do it? And then after that, you'll go, well, I know a friend who does something vaguely like it. Do you think they could swing it? And then eventually you'll kind of come to the realization that maybe you do need a professional's assistance. But this is kind of the first step, right? I wonder if I can do digital marketing myself as my example, right? And if not, if they kind of take that next step, well, I wonder who can help me with digital marketing. So they might, from there, they might decide to do a Google search and kind of see what digital marketing agencies are available. And once again, they might not even be thinking about me. They might not even be thinking about Volpine marketing. They may just be thinking about the fact that they need digital marketing. And so it is certainly possible that they'll do a Google search, they'll find me perhaps, and then they could become a client. That is certainly a possibility. Or they might go with someone else that they find on Google. That is certainly the potential. Here's kind of one of the problems that we illustrated in one of the previous chapters of this course was, this sometimes happens, right? That they'll see your billboard, your advertisement, whatever it is, even if be it digital or traditional marketing, they'll see your billboard and then go with someone they see on Facebook or go with someone they found in Google search. This is certainly a possibility. This is certainly an issue that could occur. So we need to just be doing our best to stay in front of them, which we'll be talking about here momentarily. Prospect becomes a client, becomes a patient, makes a purchase, or otherwise retains your services, right? That next phase there is the action. So assuming they make it down this funnel and they get to this portion of the process, then that's when they could actually use your services. They could actually be giving you money, which of course is the ultimate goal of marketing in this example, right? We're trying to grow our businesses. And revenue is an important aspect of that. So I'm going to choose Volpine as my digital marketing agency. Awesome, right? I'm going to go with Stuckey Construction for my concrete. I'm going to sign up for Judo Fit. I'm going to do, I'm going to use Maria's services there, whatever it might be, right? This is kind of that phase where they finally make that decision. And then, of course, loyalty. I kind of have this on the inverse, right? So this is kind of an important aspect of the process in my mind that I think is often overlooked. We're not going to talk a whole lot about this because we are kind of focusing on this portion of the funnel that kind of brings them to becoming a client or a customer or patient or whatever, but this is absolutely important, this loyalty phase, right? This is the part where they have decided this is a great company, we're going to stick with them forever, and of course that is all kind of on the other end of what happens after that sale. All kind of comes down to what their experience is like with your brand, with your company, with your service, with your product, with whatever. That's kind of where that all goes into. But we won't be touching on that today, but that's a very, very important topic. So now it's time for some fun. I hope that there's several of you who are joining us, not necessarily on your smart device, because if you aren't, now's your chance to kind of interact with the presentation. So if you guys will please go to bit.ly or bit.ly/Volpine-is-cool. If you'll go there, you will actually see a slide. So we're going to go ahead and go to that. Volpine is cool. bit.ly/Volpine is cool. I hope everyone has that. I'll leave that up for just a minute longer. Once you kind of go there, it is going to take you to a section and give you an opportunity to put in your name. You don't necessarily have to. If you want to put anonymous, if you want to put anything in there, you totally can. I don't know if we can really see necessarily your name on here, but we are going to be asking questions. We are going to be going and reviewing some of the things that we've learned through the course, and so it is your opportunity to have your name up there if you feel so inclined. So bit.ly/Volpine-is-cool. Have a chance to pop in your name, or you can go ahead and skip it, and you should be able to get there one way or another. So here's a chance to be able to answer a question, right? How's Ryan's hair looking today? So I'm here on my device. I'm logged in here onto the screen. Sometimes it loads a little weird, so you might need to kind of zoom out. But either way, you can answer this question. So I'm going to go ahead and hit awesome, right? Let's see here. I hope other people are able to get in here. Now, if you guys are having any problem getting to this, let me know. Go ahead and put it in the chat there. You can also change your response there. Cool, we have more people in here. If you're having any problems, would you pop it in the chat there, and we'll do our best to get you to the place that you need to be. But here's kind of your opportunity to kind of interact with the brand. Okay, cool. Yep, awesome. We have more people in here. This is working. Cool. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to move on, but I'll give you the chance to kind of interact with this in the future. I hope more people are able to get in there and kind of interact with us here. So we're going to be talking about the strategy selection, right? We've talked a lot about like what strategies we want to be using. We've talked about Google Ads, we talked about SEO, we talked about local SEO or Google My Business, and SEO and Google My Business are obviously very closely associated. Social media marketing, we talked about video, right? So those are all kind of the different parts that we have discussed. So now we're going to be talking about like, well, here we go. That should be active for you guys to be able to say, like, which strategies will you implement? Now, it's certainly possible that you're going to be using all of the strategies, right? That is completely possible that that's the way that you're going to interact with these things. You only have the chance to select one, so I apologize. I realize you might want to do multiple, but which one do you think is going to be the most advantageous for your business? And you can feel free to kind of add in there whatever you guys feel is going to be the most opportunity for you there. So a lot of different opinions there, so thank you for participating there. So it all kind of comes down to is you're trying to make this selection of like which aspects of this digital marketing strategy are you going to be used. It all kind of comes down to, well, what are you trying to do? Are you just trying to get people to know that you're an option for digital marketing or for whatever it is, right? And if so, maybe that top of the funnel, that kind of awareness, maybe that's what you need to be working on. If you want to be there right when things are hot, right, when people are kind of ready to make a consumer decision, then maybe you're going to be working kind of lower down in the funnel and you're going to be using strategies that get you placed there when you want to be, right? So Google Ads. Why would you use Google Ads is kind of the question here. So I'm going to go ahead and activate that question and go on here. So Google Ads, this is kind of that section, right, that you can be at the very, very top of Google, right? You can pay to be able to be up there. Why would you use that strategy? And now this section is actually like an open response. So I'm going to give you the chance to recall when we talked about Google Ads, can you remember some of the advantages that Google Ads gives you over some of these other strategies? Why would someone want to use Google Ads? Who can answer that question?
One.
So Google Ads is kind of that section of Google there that you can be there at the very, very top of Google. That's pretty awesome, right? Someone said that there. There's also just a number of other advantages that Google Ads really, really can provide you. Yep. Yeah, it looks like that concept is there. I would use this for my local brick and mortar business. So I come up first for moms looking for an after school sport. That's perfect. Thank you, Jana. That's exactly right. If someone hops in and looks for, Idaho Falls after school sports or something of that nature, then yeah, you could pop your ad right up there and be there when people are searching in Google for that, right? So that's fantastic. And just like you said, immediate top of Google placement. That's a really, really good answer. In particular, the word immediate in there is really, really important. That is one of the big advantages that Google Ads gives you over things like SEO and over some of these other strategies, because SEO is a bit of a long game, right? It takes a little while for that to be able to kind of occur and for that to be able to take place, whereas Google Ads, you could be at the very, very top of Google within like a week, right? Because it is a little bit more difficult now. Google Ads does have a bit of a learner's curve or a learner's period that the ads actually go through. So it used to be like you could have something up in an afternoon. It's still that way to an extent, but there's a bit of a delay. So you'll create that campaign within like a week, you can have your ads up there. So it's really, really quick, especially compared to other marketing avenues there. So great. So, here's kind of some of the things I thought of, very top of Google, right? Very, very top. You can be there above the map section. You can be there above the organic section. You can be there right where you want to be, when you want to be. So that's pretty awesome. Quick, just like I said, really, really quick, really, really easy to get that set up. It is targeted, right? So you can kind of say, within this area, I want these ads to show. Or within, anytime someone searches a particular phrase, I want to be there regardless of where they're located. Or you can say, within Blackfoot, I want to be there for this particular keyword. And then also I put users are closer to purchasing. This is really common, right? I feel like Google Ads is one of the best ways to be able to get in front of people like when they're really, really anxious to be able to make that consumer move, right? So we're going to kind of go over this again, just kind of rehash the opportunities there that are there for Google Ads, just to kind of beat the dead horse. Just kidding. But you can target what keywords you want to show up, where you want the ads to show, and when to show them. If there's a particular time of day, if there's a particular day of the week that you want to show your ads, you can control all of that. So that's obviously an advantage that you have over like a billboard or something like that, right? Billboards are 24/7, which some people could say is an advantage, and it really might be. But if there are a particular time that your audience is searching, you can get in front of them, right? So that's really, really cool. I want to show up when someone in Blackfoot is searching assisted living, right? Or I want my ads to show up regardless of where they're located when they search Blackfoot assisted living or assisted living in Blackfoot. You can get in front of those types of queries. Here's kind of the match types that are available. So if you want to target it when someone says verbatim assisted living, then you can target that, right? If you feel like that's the best way, when they literally search assisted living, no variations whatsoever. If you want to give Google a little bit more liberation, if you want to let Google have a little bit more chance to be able to kind of show this a little more widely, then you can do what's called a broad match. So they can kind of say, okay, well, they said Idaho Falls nursing home, and we kind of felt like that was relatively close, so we decided to show your ad. You can let Google kind of make some of those decisions for you if you want to, or if you can say, anytime they literally have the words Blackfoot, assisted, and living, regardless of the order, regardless of what other keywords might be in there, I want to show up. So that ad would show up if anyone searches assisted living near Blackfoot or in Blackfoot or anything there. Or you say, if anybody says assisted living near me, I want to show up for that particular phrase. Even if they say something before or after that phrase, anytime they say that, I want to be there. Big opportunity for you if that's kind of what your business is, right? So construction company, a concrete company, if they're ever looking for that, if you want to say, I want to show up anytime someone says construction company or concrete company, concrete contractor in Island Park, Idaho, we can make sure that your ads are there, right? So this could be a really, really good opportunity if there's that very, very specific set of keywords that you're trying to target there. And it is pretty dang fast. Now, sales funnel. You know, what part of the sales funnel do you feel that Google Ads really caters to? Give people a moment to kind of respond there. Pretty split there. And I don't know if there's not necessarily a right or a wrong answer here, and we're going to kind of go into that. I do feel like in general, Google Ads is better for kind of those lower parts of the funnel, right? Nike shoes. Here's an ad for Nike shoes. Bingo, right? I mean, this is pretty well down the funnel. These people have already determined that they have a problem that needs to be solved, and they're looking for that problem to be solved. That's pretty well a ways down the funnel, right? So I'm going to say that is kind of the portion that Google Ads can really, really take care of. Is kind of that consideration or action portion of that process, right? That's probably what I'd say. However, you have to keep in mind that Google Ads has so many different aspects to it. So we've talked about Google Ads in the search type of way, right? But Google Ads does have other things like display ads, right? So you can show these ads on websites that you feel are topically relevant to yours. So if there's a beauty website or something like that and you want to show your lashes company there, then fantastic. There are ways that we can show these type of ads on the sides of the banners of those websites, right? So that is definitely a way that we can kind of cater to that other aspect of the sales funnel, the awareness and the interest part of it. But in general, when we're talking about Google ads or pay-per-click advertising or search ads, it is kind of that lower portion of the funnel there that we're talking about. Let's see here. And of course, loyalty, there's always ways that you can try to be implementing these campaigns to be able to improve and kind of make loyalty happen, right? For example, if you make a purchase on adidas.com and you buy a pair of shoes, well then, hey, this is a person who is using my product, right? If I'm Adidas, right? Maybe this would be a good way to kind of show more products that are available at their disposal and kind of increase that brand loyalty because, hey, if this is someone who's already made a purchase, then chances are they might be more likely to make another purchase than someone else who's never made one from us before, right? So there's definitely ways that you can kind of hit pretty much any aspect of the sales funnel. So why not use Google Ads? And I don't have kind of the open forum here for this particular one, but if you're kind of wondering like, why would I not want to use Google Ads? Well, they can be kind of expensive. It's not uncommon for, even though these people are pretty anxious to make a purchase, it's not uncommon for them not to. Depending on your industry, depends on kind of the conversion rate that you might experience there, but you could pay for a lot of people who aren't necessarily actually interested in making a purchase, but they're coming to kick some tires, right? So it's certainly possible that that happens, right? And then you end up spending a lot of money on people who didn't actually make a purchase. That is certainly possible, but every marketing avenue is. But you have to be aware that that's kind of the case. Because other people know that people who are searching in this particular way are kind of chomping at the bit, so that this avenue is kind of in demand, right? One of the most expensive industries in the entire world for this particular type of tactic is personal injury law. So people who have been injured in car accidents or something like that. These attorneys, these companies who are advertising for these attorneys know how in demand. If someone's looking for a car accident lawyer, they know that that is a gold client, right? So they're willing to pay a lot just to have a chance for them to click on the ads, not even necessarily gain the client because they know the return is there. So it can be kind of expensive. My personal opinion is that I think that this particular type of tactic can bring in kind of some lower quality clients. I mean, can you imagine being the type of person that they're looking for an attorney, they're looking for a pest control company, they're looking for a marketing company, they're looking for whatever. Literally, they go to Google and they click on the top result, and that is it. This is not a person that I think is doing a lot of homework and a lot of research about that consumer process. So sometimes they're not necessarily as invested in your brand. They don't particularly care. They're looking for that quick transaction, right? Which is what I have kind of there down below, is that they're more simply transactional focused. They're not really doing a lot of research. And I feel like this is fairly common. I've seen this in a number of cases. Now, don't get me wrong. I know plenty of people who have literally made millions doing only Google ads. So I'm not saying it's a bad method, but you need to be considering the kind of the cons as well as the pros to the strategy. Also, the minute you stop paying, it's done, right? So any benefit that you may have gained from it, it's over. The minute you decide, I'm not going to pay Google anymore, your ads are done. They're no longer showing. That's it. Game over. So something to be considering. So why invest in SEO? I'll go ahead and I'll open that up to the class. SEO is, of course, search engine optimization. So getting in these different positions, why would that be advantageous? Why would you want to do that? What are your thoughts? Mm-hmm. What advantages does SEO offer us that maybe some of these other avenues don't? Yeah, I mean, so people put, kind of longer opportunity for return. Mm-hmm. To be found by your target market, obviously. Yeah, right. If people are looking for, pest control company in Idaho Falls, and if you can be there, that's obviously fantastic, right? Diversity of keywords that we can target, right? There's so many different opportunities that we can go after in SEO. It's fairly limitless as far as the amount of opportunity of things that we can go after if we can be wise in kind of the strategy that we're using. So kind of some of the things that we have that I put here is people go to Google a lot, right? I mean, when people have different decisions, when they have different purchases that they're trying to make, when they're trying to find a particular type of service, Google is one of the number one places that people go to. And then, I did put people can provide a lot of return. So once or when, if you are ranked well for a particular keyword, you could potentially stay there a long time. Now, that's certainly not always the case. It is a potential that other people will come and kind of oust you out of some of those top places. But in general, once you're up there, you can really do very, very well if you're going after the right keywords that are ones that generate revenue for your company, right? And then also they can return and it can provide revenue for you even after you stop investing in it, right? So you could build a resource or a page or whatever one time, and then that could provide return, provide clients again and again and again and again, well after you've even touched that page. In fact, it's pretty common for a lot of my clients that they'll create pages, or they did create pages in like 2015. And then all of a sudden, Google's algorithm kind of changes, and then those pages just start catch fire, right? So they are generating revenue from something that they created one time 5 years ago, right? So that really could be gold if there's a particular set of keywords that you have that you're trying to go after, and then be found for exactly what you want to be. So, I mean, geez, yeah, the after-school programs in Idaho Falls, the after-school sports in Idaho Falls, that's fantastic. Concrete services, right? If you want to create a service page for concrete repairs in Idaho Falls, concrete, pavement, parking lots, driveways, stairs, steps, all these different things are terms that you could potentially go after for when people are searching for those terms, if you want to and are willing to invest the resources and the time to be able to make that type of content. So that's a really, really good opportunity for you. So let's see here. Let me make sure that this is the active one. There we go. Now you should be able to see it. What part of the sales funnel do you think SEO is used for? Mm-hmm. Yep. I definitely think that it is kind of that middle portion of that funnel. It is certainly possible, and that a lot of people could, if you're creating content to kind of drive awareness, once again, if we kind of go after some of these like FAQ pages that we want to create, and we have people who are creating them, or coming to these pages, and then we kind of provide ourselves as kind of the solution, it is certainly possible that there's a way that SEO could be used for kind of that awareness part of it. But in general, at least when you're first starting, I think it makes a lot more sense to try to go after the B and the C phase there. That makes a lot more sense to kind of go after, okay, they have a problem, they're looking for a solution to that problem. So to be the Idaho Falls Pest Control Company, right, to be positioned there, I think is going to be the best for you, but there's certainly ways that you can go about it to do that differently. So that's kind of where I think it is. It's really kind of similar in a lot of ways to pay-per-click advertising, but a lot of different ways that you could probably go after this and kind of use SEO. So, pop quiz. Hope you guys are super excited for this. We talked a lot. Our whole course, not last week, but the week before that, was all about SEO. It was all about how to be able to be found in Google. So the pop quiz, the question is, what were some things, I think that's supposed to be 2 words, some things, whatever, you can do to help your website rank better in Google? Do you happen to remember what some of those things were that we could be doing to help us be able to be found better in Google? There's a number of different factors that Google takes into consideration. What do you remember? Using keywords. Good. A keyword in your domain. Good. Let's keep this up. Anything else? Please respond more than once. You totally can. Good. Yeah, these are all right. Oh yeah, good. You guys are doing awesome. Long tail keywords. So not trying to go after lawyer, but trying to go after Idaho Falls, divorce lawyer, or whatever, right? That's a fantastic one. FAQ page with keywords. I mean, if there are specific frequently asked questions for your industry that you want to get in front of, that's a fantastic way to go about it. This is good. Let's see. Is there anything else that we can remember? More content with specific detail. This is all good. Okay. Links to similar content. There we go. Good. Yeah, these are all aspects of it that are super, super helpful, right? So we can actually, when we link out to content that's similar to us, that is actually helpful. Google does like to see that. Google also would love to see links from content similar to yours link back to your website. So both of those aspects is actually true. So that's really, really good. Whoever said that one, gold star there. So here's all the different things that we talked about, right? Here's all the factors that Google takes into consideration when it comes to performing in Google, right? We have citation signals, we have review signals, Google My Business signals, website signals, link signals. Here's kind of that more in-depth breakdown of all these different things, right? So website signals. So we talk about like the authority of your website, right? Being able to have a really, really good resource on whatever that particular topic is, or those keywords that you're trying to target, that is awesome. Being able to be the best resource on whatever that topic is, that is exactly what we're talking about. The actual authority of your website, so based on a bunch of different signals, topical search relevance to the website content, right? So if we have our entire website dedicated to pest control, then we are going to be more likely to show up for pest control related terms. That's obviously super, super helpful for us. Making sure our website's mobile friendly, that's important. Locations are in, those different keywords are in the content. But these are all different things that Google takes into consideration. So we talked about like what types of content should you be writing. Once again, this is kind of a rehash of that day. We talked about, Idaho Falls Assisted Living, Burley, Idaho Dentist, all these different terms, right, are things that you should be targeting if these are services and locations that you serve and you provide. We talked about the FAQ pages, right? How long can a mouse live without food? How to file for divorce in Idaho? How much does a website cost to create, right? These are all really, really good things that we can create content about. And of course, the more content we have on our website about a related topic to our main ones that we're trying to go for, the more Google will say this is a really, really good resource on whatever this topic is, right? And then, creating the ultimate list of resources and things like that, right? And here's several that we created. I believe Tanyan was talking about like the best schools in Idaho Falls, and kind of having a resource that kind of ranks those different terms and stuff like that. So really, really good content that could be created. And of course, kind of just making sure that they're well optimized. So Google does like to see particular things within that. And here's kind of these different types of optimizations that we can make in our website, right? So having the keyword in that H1, or that big header up at the very top of your page, that's important. Someone said having keyword in your domain, that's good, or in your URL structure in general, that's fantastic. So if it's like grothlaw.com/Toledo-car-accident-lawyer, that is what we're going for as far as that's concerned. Having the content be fairly in-depth, 500 to 1,500 words of content. If this is like a money keyword for you, then you better sure be as heck trying to target this, right? And by giving Google more content to consider, that's how you get it done. Having images on your content in general is fantastic. It just gives Google more content to crawl and consider. And then of course, having those keywords in those alternative descriptions or alt tags in the actual HTML of that page. These are all really, really good things to be doing. So link signals, I mean, geez, this is a really, really big one, especially in competitive markets and competitive industries. Making sure that you have links from all sorts of different websites, having really authoritative websites, having links from authoritative websites, having a good amount of links, right, as far as the actual quantity of them, having quantity of links from industries related to yours. These are all really important aspects of link building. And this is kind of a thing that we showed there. A lot of times that content, that's super important. You need to put a lot of emphasis there. But in really, really competitive industries, for example, like Atlanta car accident lawyer, links is really the big difference maker. It's not content in that particular one. But don't ignore it and overlook the content. But for a lot of us in these less competitive industries, in these less competitive markets, a lot of times if you're just making really, really good content and optimizing it well, that will be all that you need in many situations. The types of links that you can land, right? Web directories, guest blogs, so reaching out to these different blogs and providing content there, and then having that content link back to your website. Creating these different ebooks or these different maps or whatever it is, right? Doing a scholarship, sponsoring an event. A lot of times they will have like sponsorship pages that they'll link back to you. Those are all great ways to go about making that happen. So why should you not invest in SEO? Well, if people aren't searching for your product or your service in Google, if that's just not the way they behave, then maybe that's not the best strategy for you, right? So I mentioned like the flexible speakers for my friend who has them for like bike helmets and motorbike helmets. Like SEO is not really a great strategy for them. Like people don't really search for flexible speakers because they don't even know it exists. They don't even know that's an option. So it's kind of silly to invest a lot of time and resources to be positioned for keywords that no one uses, right? It's also fairly time intensive, or it can be, depending on what you're trying to go after. So if you're really trying to create the best resource on, helping women live more fulfilling lives, why should women be in judo? Whatever these different resources that you're trying to create and these different keywords that you're trying to target, a lot of times it can take a lot of time to create this type of content, especially if you're trying to make it relatively compelling. It can be kind of resource heavy to make that happen. So it's up to you to determine if the return is going to be there. I've seen in so many different industries and so many different markets for so many different companies that it absolutely is if you can go after the right keywords. So Google My Business, right? I mean, we're not really going to talk about much about Google My Business because I think we all understand that it's fairly important. But who can remember like Google My Business? What functionalities or what features are at your disposal through Google My Business? Who remembers this? Does this feel like high school? I hope it does. I think this is a great way. I think it's awesome to kind of come and to be talking about these things, but I wanted to provide this day of this course so that you could really have the chance to remember the content that we talked about. Because if you're not remembering it, then you're not going to use it, and this whole course was a waste of your time, frankly. So I want to make sure that we're discussing the different things that we talked about throughout the course so that you can really be using them to your advantage. Perfect. These are great answers. Yep, pictures. Yep, Google My Business provides an opportunity for you to showcase your location, your staff, your logo, your products, your whatever, right? That's all fantastic. Location and business hours, right? If you are a brick and mortar location and you need people to find you, Google is how it's done. That's really, really important that you have that information out there so people can find you and they can call you, right? Provides quick info. That's kind of what I'm talking about as far as links to your website, your phone number, whatever it is. That's all really, really important. Reviews, huge one for reviews, right? We live in a world where we are so driven by reviews. We trust the opinions of strangers all the time. Right? On Amazon, that's what we do. We search for a blender and then we read what these people we don't know thought about it. We do this all the time and we're trained. So it's going to happen more and more and more that we're going to rely on these opinions of people that we don't know as we're making these important consumer decisions in our lives, right? So these are all fantastic and I appreciate everyone who participated there. That's absolutely right. Reviews, images, contact info, links to website, for them to be able to go get answers to more of their questions. These are all really, really important aspects of Google My Business that we can be using, right? So let's see. One moment, guys. There we go. What is one of the most important factors when it comes to ranking in the local pack? If you remember, the local pack is kind of that map section. So basically, I'm just saying, like, what kind of things, do we happen to remember, like, what the most important one is? Because there's a handful that are way more important and way more influential than others. Location, perfect. Distance from your competitors, we talked about that as well. These are all right. Yep. The most important one, or one of the most influential factors, is proximity to searcher. So, and they're getting better and better about trying to determine where this is. Sometimes Google will think that you're wherever kind of the nearest like satellite thing is, right? As far as trying to figure out where you're located. But in general, proximity to searcher, right? Close to the location, man, we're number one. We're just killing it in that area, right? And then, further from the competition, right? So both of those locations, both those answers are completely right, and I appreciate whoever said them. So outside of this, though, I mean, there's not too much we can do, right? There was actually someone who was interviewing a guy from Google, and they said, well, then what can we be doing? If we want to be found in Google, what can we do if proximity is the number one factor, And his response was literally, whenever someone searches, move your business to where they're located, right? And so obviously that is not realistic. That is not an option for a lot of us. So other than proximity, what other things influence how often people see our Google listing outside of proximity? What were some of those other factors that we could be working on, that we can be investing our time and energy into, that can help us be able to be found better in Google? And some of these overlap from kind of the other section of Google, but local, in this local map section, there are a few different opportunities that are fairly unique, only to Google My Business or to like local SEO in particular. Do we remember any of these? Having more reviews. That is correct. That is definitely one of them. Review rating. Yep. Both of those are correct. Recent reviews. That is also correct. This is good. We remember the review portion really, really well. So that's good because all these are correct. Having a really, really positive review overall rating, right, is very, very good. Google wants to be providing better businesses to their searchers, right? Because that influences the way the user kind of feels about their experiences if they're actually being sent to good companies, right? That's important to them. They want those people to be taken care of. So that obviously Google naturally has to rely on the overall star rating to a point, right? They also take into consideration the amount of reviews. They take into consideration the recent reviews, the amount of reviews or the velocity that you gain reviews. That's something that Google takes into consideration. And then having more reviews, right? So the overall quantity of reviews is fantastic. They also take into consideration the actual text that's used in the reviews, and if those reviews have the particular keywords that you're going for. So if you're a construction company, having people say construction, home building, commercial building, whatever it is in that actual review, that is all influential as far as Google is concerned. So that's absolutely right. There's several other factors, and we'll talk about those just to review, right? Because the real test is what happens after this. So this is essentially, this is like the quiz or the, what do they call it? Kind of the review before the test, right, that they would do. This is kind of what we're going after here, so that once you guys are released out into the wild, you guys will be better prepared to be doing awesome things. So Google My Business Signals, proximity to searcher, physical address in the city, those are all really, really good things. Your primary business category, we'll go ahead and we'll get into that. Business category here, right? Making sure that these are the most appropriate things to whatever those searches are about. So if you're a concrete contractor, you want to have concrete contractor here, not just construction company, right? You want to be more specific if you can be, right? Here's an example of where that came into play, right? All these attorneys that are ranked high for this particular keyword all had that as their primary business category. Having the keywords in the business name, I was talking with Sue about that yesterday, in the fact that we set up her Google listing, Stuckey Construction. Once it's matured a little bit and we have it kind of up and running for a little while, I do think it's going to be in her best interest to say Stuckey Construction dash concrete contractor or concrete builder, concrete construction, whatever it is, right? Those are going to be the types of keywords that are going to be helpful, and having them in your Google listing is going to make it more likely to be shown than if you don't. That's just how it is, right? The reviews, we talked about all that. We talked about that fairly extensively. Having reviews on other websites like Yelp and Facebook and other platforms like that, that's all helpful. Listing interaction, so the amount of people who are clicking on your reviews, your images, clicking to call, clicking to get directions, these are all helpful to be able to help you perform well in Google My Business. Listings and citations, so these are all these different places that you need to go and set up your listing, get your information out there. Yelp, Yellow Pages, Apple, Bing, Infogroup, Factual, all these different websites are great places to have your information on, and Google takes into consideration when it comes to ranking. So social media marketing, kind of moving on to this next section. Why would you use social media marketing? These are all right. It is cool. And let's see, if you need to build awareness for your product or service, yeah, that is when social media marketing is fantastic. You can simply pay money to gain exposure to your product. Yeah, those are completely right. I think it's a fantastic opportunity as far as that's concerned. I put in the because it's cool. I put in the makes me feel fancy because that is what I hear a lot of, right? Social media marketing is effective, but it's definitely a buzzword. And people come to me all the time wanting it, whether or not it really is the most effective strategy. A lot of times it can be, but if you just want to do Facebook, I don't know if that's a great reason to do it. If you're not really targeting a great audience, then you kind of lose a lot of the power that you could potentially have doing social media marketing. Growth, it's a really, really good one. I completely agree. I think it's a fantastic way to do it. So here's kind of some of the things that I think social media marketing is particularly effective. Targeting capabilities. Once again, you can target by geographical area. Not only can you target like people who actually live in the area, but you can target people who are in an area but are not from that area. So for example, when I was with my last company, we'd go and do conferences a lot, right? Because that's what people did before 2020 is attend marketing conferences. And so we'd go to these conferences and I'd speak at them in cities like Nashville or New Orleans or these different cities. So what we'd do, once again, because my audience was lawyers when I was with my last company, is I would do Facebook ads to people who were in New Orleans, but not from New Orleans, and their job or their occupation was law, or who studied law and went to a law school, right? We could target people by these different things, even if they weren't necessarily in or from that area, I should say, not in, they were in that area. And what was so funny is at these conferences, we had so many people come up to us and say, I'm just a little creeped out that you got in my Facebook feed because it was that effective, right? So you can target people by where they currently are or where they're from. You can target them based on their demographics, such as education, marital status, occupation, so many different things you can target. Their interests, as far as, are they interested in purchasing shoes? Have they recently purchased shoes? Are they interested in small business? Are they interested in marketing? Are they interested in, you name it, we can get in front of those people. Where people's eyeballs actually are, I use the example of the billboard because it was so common that people were not looking at the road. And then of course, it's fairly inexpensive. As far as like your cost per 1,000 people, social media is easily one of the least expensive ways to go about it. Now, whether or not it's effective or not really depends on a number of different factors. But as far as your ability to be able to get in front of people, it is significantly cheaper. And you have all these targeting stuff on top of that than like billboards or radio ads or television ads or you name it. It's a great way to be able to go about it. There's all these different factors that we have, right? So let's see here. Let me make sure this is queued up right. What portion of the funnel do you feel like social media marketing is best for? Awareness. I mean, we're certainly probably going to talk about this here in just a minute. I mean, that awareness, that interest portion, that is huge. I mean, you can educate people very, very well using Facebook ads. I think it's a fantastic way to go about it. And by Facebook ads, I mean the social media ads in general. It could be on YouTube. It could be on TikTok. It could be on Instagram. It could be on LinkedIn. It doesn't really matter. It's a fantastic way to go about it. But social media marketing really is powerful because it really can do pretty much any aspect of this, right? If you have people who have come to your website before, you can get in front of them again, right? Going back to this, right? Facebook, Google Ads, all these different platforms really provide an opportunity to get in front of these people again and again and again. And I personally think it's the way to do it. And if you're not doing this, there probably are competitors of yours that are. Once again, remarketing, right? Oh, hey, you're back. We're interested in getting people back to our website, and so that's why we do Facebook ads, these people who have already come, because that is easier, right? So why should someone not invest in social media marketing? Well, if they're unwilling to target a specific audience, I wouldn't do it. If you're gonna target, human beings ages 0 to 1,000, I think social media marketing could be a waste of time. I'm not saying it will never work, but I mean, it is, going back to kind of one of the analogies that we used before about a hose and how, if you put your finger over it and you kind of close off a portion of that, then your ability to be able to have that be a more concentrated, more effective stream increases significantly. If you're unwilling to say, oh, well, we serve everyone. Well, no crap. Of course you can. Anyone who gives you money, you'll probably serve. Not always. Obviously, there's a lot of reasons that wouldn't be the case. But, yeah, you'll take people's money, right? That's not an effective way to market. Pick an audience, define who that is that you're actually going after. What industries do they work in? Are they male? Are they female? What's the typical age, right? These are so many opportunities here, and if you're not willing to do that because I don't know. I don't know why you would even do it if you're not willing to really have a dialed in audience, because then you lose even your ability to be able to speak their language, right? You have an audience that isn't on social media. You know what? If you're selling to the Amish, this might not be the best way to do it, right? That would be probably a great reason not to use social media marketing. And if you're not committed to building a brand. So if you are like, you know what? I spent $100 on Facebook marketing and I didn't see any immediate return, so I just don't think it works. It's such a long game. Right? If you're building a brand, the chance for them to see your ad and then be like, yes, I need a digital marketing agency right now. That is so low. That is so low that is actually going to be the way it goes. So if you're not committed to the long game and aren't willing to kind of continually invest in kind of getting in front of this audience, then it might not be the right avenue for you. But if that's the way you want to operate, is that people immediately are looking and it's fairly transactional, maybe Google Ads would be the better avenue for you to go. So, video production. Let's see here. Why would someone want to use video? Why would that be a wise marketing avenue for you? Oh no, do I not have this on here? Don't think I have it on there. So, this is my bad, I didn't embed it there. But we'll go ahead and we'll go on for the sake of just moving on. It's eye-catching, right? This is a fantastic way to be able to get in front of people in a way that's extremely easy to use, right? Extremely eye-catching. There's a lot of visibility to it, especially in a social media feed that is often stationary, right? Filled with all these just still images of whatever. It's a fantastic opportunity for you to be able to stand out. And then also, there's the common phrase, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So what about a 30-second video shot at 60 frames per second, right? That's a lot of images. That's a lot of opportunity to be able to tell your story, whatever that is. There's a huge opportunity there to be able to communicate whatever you want to very, very quickly. It's also powerful because we determine a lot based on what we see of people, right? Now, I don't want you to think about business. I want you to think about people, your friends that are on Facebook. You make a lot of decisions on who that person is based off of very little information that you see on Facebook, right? There's kind of the big issue of people aren't portraying really their real selves on Facebook, and that may be true because they can filter what is shown and what is not, right? So Facebook is often, not in everyone's case, but in a lot of times it is kind of a highlight reel of a person's life, or kind of these things that they're actually wanting to show because they are in control of that story that they are telling their friends and their family and whoever sees their Facebook profiles. This is the same for business, right? You have the ability to tell people whatever that story that you're hoping to tell, right? And you control that by the information that you show. And so if you want to, and what's interesting is so people come up to me all the time because on my Facebook, like I have a lot of pictures with my children and stuff like that. And they can tell that I'm pretty devoted to my children. I try to do my best to be there for them. But I have people come up all the time and just tell me what a loving, devoted father that I am. And while I hope that that is true, it may not be the case, right? Because they just have such a very, very little information off of what is actually happening. So while we try to be our most authentic selves, and I hope that I am the loving, devoted father that my Facebook friends all seem to think I am, that is all part of the story that I have chosen to tell. And, just because of that, like, people are, if they're my Facebook friend, they're already a friend, right? But the thing is, like, when you see a business in your Facebook feed and they have a video or just a still image, frankly, it doesn't have to be video, but video is a way more effective way to go about it, you have the chance to be able to kind of just shape their opinion, and then you have a chance to get in what I call the friend zone. If people are seeing you or your business, and I hope it's you, not necessarily just your business, in their Facebook feed, then you have a chance to kind of move from being this nameless, faceless business entity into their friend zone, right? Because you're seen there, right, on the same area that they generally see information about their friends and their family. So, video, Facebook, social media marketing really provides such a powerful opportunity for you to be able to get very closely intimate with your audience, because you're just right there in the same place. So, oh no, I don't think I put the slide in there again for this other one. Do you guys remember? Let's go ahead. Let's open it up to the class. Could we go to the gallery view real quick, Chris? So last week we introduced kind of the principles of folklore, is what I called it, and there were kind of 4 parts of successful video marketing that I mentioned. Does anybody happen to remember any of those principles of folklore, or the principles of video marketing? Now we're really getting into it. As soon as I mention them, you'll totally remember. But I just want to see if anybody remembers. There are 4.
I do.
All right, what you got for me?
Tell the right story. Tell it to the right people. Tell it in the right way. And then tell it again and again.
Well done.
How'd I do?
You did great. That's exactly right. So let's go ahead and go back to the presentation. Thank you so much, Susan. I appreciate you. Hopefully everyone else remembered it too. But yep, tell the right story to the right people in the right way again and again, right? This is what I found to be the kind of the components of the recipe for video marketing and just marketing in general, really success, right? Tell the right story to the right people in the right way again and again. We talked about telling the right story, and what I admonish you guys that I'll do is, of course, find your unique value propositions. What is it that makes your company different than someone else down the street? What do you do really well that your customers care about? Focus on that, right? But not in a way that is overly, just kind of focusing on those things, because that's extremely salesy, right? You don't want to be the Snuggie of martial art studios, right? We don't want to be the Snuggie of law firms. We don't want to do kind of this infomercial kind of approach to things. We want to find this balance, right? Folklore, right? Between communicating your unique value propositions and being able to communicate that in a story, those 2 different aspects of it. Here's kind of one of the examples of what I thought was a really, really good way to be able to tell the right story to the right people in the right way. This was this workers' compensation law firm out of Washington. We showed them the work gloves, we showed them the construction equipment again and again, and of course the result of that was nearly 500% increase in the amount of people who are searching for their brand. That's phenomenal. That's a huge amount of people. That's a huge amount of increase, I should say, of people who are looking specifically for this company. And I have to add here too that this company is one that already had a good amount of people looking for their brand. There were a relatively, and I say relatively because that really isn't huge, but they already had a good amount of people who are already looking for them. So to have that substantial of an increase, awesome. And I don't think there's a single company in here that couldn't have something similar occur. And then, of course, in the right way, and I do just feel so very passionate about video. I think it is absolutely the way to go. I think motion is just interesting to the eye, and people just prefer it. It's Hollywood. There is kind of a level of sexiness to video marketing and video production over different avenues, even if the production quality is relatively low, right? We kind of mentioned how people really want to see more authentic content. They want to see, Letitia getting her butt handed to her in the parking lot, rather than kind of these like really high-end, crazy, over-the-top produced videos, right? That's what they want to see. They want to see more authenticity in their Facebook feed. And if we can give that to them, I feel like that is doing it in the right way. And then, of course, all this craziness, I think this is like the third or fourth time I've shared this slide, because I think it is so important to just remember that people need these touch points with your brand, and if you're not giving it to them, then chances are, if we went all the way back to the beginning of the presentation when I said, there's a time where you're kind of just educating them on the problem, and they might not think of you, but you're creating this dilemma in their mind of, oh, I do need a solution. I do need a realtor. I do need a construction company or a concrete contractor. I do need whatever it is, right? A great way to work out at home. But if we're not there again, if we're not staying in front of these people, then we could have the chance to create the problem or educate about the problem and not be the solution, right? So through kind of this multi-channel effort, we do have a chance to not only be there to educate about the problem, but to be the easy solution, the obvious choice. And I feel like all these different aspects of it is just kind of the way to go about it for sure. So with that, we have a little bit of time here. I would like you to actually spend time, I think we'll give you a couple minutes here if that's all right there, Chris, for you guys to actually lay ink to paper or write it down somewhere of what is your actual marketing plan. We've had all this time. Ryan has talked at you for hours. Therefore, what? What's going to happen? What's going to change? What are you going to do to implement some of these things in your business? And I'm going to go ahead and give you a couple minutes to think about that. All right, everybody. I realize 2 minutes is not a long time, but I'm sure like throughout this course, like many of you have probably been thinking about what you'd like to be doing differently or what you'd like to be doing better or what tactics you're hoping to kind of implement into kind of your business and stuff like that. So I just wanted to open that up to people to share with me, like, what have you already done as far as digital marketing goes kind of since the beginning of this course, if anything, and what you intend to do. And let's go ahead. Susan, if you wouldn't mind starting, and then let's go. Angel, if you're there with us, I'll have you go after Susan, and then Jana. Susan, go ahead. Oh, can't hear you yet.
I have a question first.
Okay, sure.
Where do we find the cost of Google Ads?
Yeah, so Google Ads really varies based on the keyword. Not all keywords are created equally, unfortunately, unlike people. And so Google will actually kind of say, okay, well, this particular keyword is actually more expensive than this other one, right? So I use the example of like car accident lawyer. That's like the most expensive keyword in the entire freaking world. But like there are some keywords that will only be like 60 cents for a click, right? But for some of those like car accident ones, you're looking at more like $60 a click, right? That's only a click, let alone someone actually be coming out and filling out a form fill. So that's all done in Google Ads. And they do actually have kind of a way that you can kind of estimate or you can kind of guess. It's called the Keyword Planner tool. So if you want to reach out to me afterwards, we can kind of talk a little bit more about that. But you can kind of say, okay, within Idaho Falls or Island Park or whatever the area is, how many people are searching this particular keyword, and you can get volume, and then you can get kind of a general estimate on how much that's going to cost per click. So then you can kind of say, okay, well, cool, I can afford or I'm willing to pay for 10 clicks of that a day, you know, or something like that, and you can kind of work backwards to make that. I'm willing to pay $600 a month or $6 a day to be able to get that many clicks. So that's kind of
Okay, so is there a website to go to?
Yes, it is ads.google.com.
Okay.
Ads.google.com, and then there you can go set up your Google Ads account, and then you can kind of work on kind of that. And there's ways that you can use what's called a smart campaign that you can kind of say, like, this is kind of the general keyword theme. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for.
What was the word you beeped out?
Word theme.
Theme?
Theme. So like this topic, this general idea or concept of keywords, and then you can kind of say, but not this particular keyword. So if you don't want parking lots, you can say, I don't want to show up for parking lots, but I do want to show up for driveways, right?
Okay.
Something like that.
Now you ask, what are we going to do?
Yes. Or what have you done since the beginning of the course, and what do you plan to do now?
Well, I've got a lot of plans. I've got pages. I've been taking copious notes. Well, with our construction company, I'm going to add concrete in the URL and change a bunch of the content. I have a business, an image business myself. That's going well, but I'm just creating something for women to nurture and feed themselves. Something, something to create joy. And so I'm planning my logo. I'm planning the content. I'm planning my podcasts. I'm planning. Well, I'm going to connect it with my Celebrate with Joy website. Anyway, so I got a lot of plans. So thank you. You've been so very helpful. But I'm going to work on social media big time with this part of my business.
Social media is kind of where you find kind of the greatest opportunity there for you. Perfect.
Yes. So you've been fabulous. Thank you, Ryan.
You're so welcome. Always happy to be a resource in the future as well.
Thank you.
Let's see, Angel, my friend, if you're there with us, what's kind of on your mind? What are you planning on trying out? No, might not be with us there. That's all right. These conferences are so hard. People come in and out all the time. Let's see, Jana.
Volunteer if you want. Oh, sorry. After after Dan.
Yeah, I'll go ahead. Let's have Jana, and then we'll have Steve, and then Maria.
Okay, so my marketing plan is to define my target audiences and then build awareness about my product being the solution to them not being able to do judo right now, or them needing an at-home workout, or them finding a living room workout that they can resonate with.
Yeah, that's a good
So
one.
like we talked about last time, how I want to maybe target men, like maybe they're never gonna like really identify with a woman in a leotard that's crazy flexible, like they're just not gonna relate to that. And so I want to provide a niche, like, okay, I feel kind of tough when I do this workout because at least it's a martial art.
That's right.
And
I think it's a great strategy. I really do. I mean, we've talked a lot about it, but I think it's awesome. I told you about, my apprehension about Jillian Michaels, and want anybody to know the fact I did it. So I think it's a great strategy. Awesome. Let's see here. Who did I have next? Steve. So I know you've created a Google listing, so that's a huge step there.
Yeah, I started the Google listing, and I'm going to give it a try. It's so specialized, and also a lot of my my referrals and stuff was going to be coming from attorneys, and I've been more establishing relationships than I have been Google, to tell you the truth.
That's all right.
That's what I've been working on more, but I'm going to try to use Google in that too. But I've got to. My big thing is my business is establishing relationships with partners, I guess.
Right. Yeah, and I will say, just kind of to add on Steve's point there, like I own a digital marketing agency. I'm obviously so passionate about digital marketing, but like if you're starting out your business, like my go-to is always relationships. Like that comes before almost everything else, right? So I think you're right on, Steve. Let's see here. Maria, what you got? And then let's go to Zoe after that.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I just like barged in.
Oh, you're good.
I just got a massage, so don't look at my eyes. I think the biggest thing is networking is the number one thing, and I have definitely always done that, but I had been out of the networking area, and I've loved it. So thank you. I think you've been a great leader in allowing us to see how to network and go about that. Obviously, it's very important for me to be on Google. So you're going to help me with that too. See how resourceful he is?
You know it.
Yeah, so more videos. I told you that day, so I don't know if you've seen, but it's like ridiculous. Like I'm everywhere now. And it's raw content, and it's on Facebook, and I'm also doing I'm going to do it on Instagram. I'm getting familiar with the different platforms, social platforms that are out there. So I'm going to be on all of them that I can as much as possible, with the main focus being Facebook. I'm going to give value, like you said. So I already started adding value to our Facebook page, and also within the relationships that we are building, and on my personal page. What else? Community involvement. So that's something that I'm doing. I've done it before with a limit. So now I get lost. And collaborating. Like we were at a meeting, and I think Andres said a really good point. Like, it's how can we collaborate, and that has just been working amazing. Like it's just been amazing. And then at the end, obviously I'm going to do Facebook ads. I did get one like professional video, but just there's going to be some people that want that, right? Not really. Some people are going to want to see that, so that's going to be like on my Facebook ads. And then so just honestly learning from you and trying to get into it more.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Let's see, Zoe, if you're there with us, I'd love to hear from you if there are certain strategies or tactics that you're hoping to implement.
Yeah, so I've already been doing kind of social media and all that for Lash and Body. Something that we need to focus more on, and what I'm gonna start doing is the Google business, my Google business or whatever, and putting the products and the pictures. I think usually when I'm looking for something, I like to see the pictures of what it looks like and what they offer. So I think I'm gonna do that later this week, and then create some like highlight videos for the different artists or people on our staff and what they do and who they are and their education. And because I think just seeing people
I love
is
that.
good for your business. But
Yeah.
yeah,
People don't trust logos. Or
no,
businesses. They like individuals. So I think you're spot on there. I think that's fantastic.
thank you.
Let's see here, Lisa. Anything from you? Anything you're hoping to? That's my wife, by the way. I don't even know if she's able to listen. She's probably chasing some kids right now. But anyways, well, thank you so much, everyone, for being here and being a part of this. Let's see. Let's go back to the presentation, if we could, there, Chris. Just kind of in closing, thanks again for being here and being with us and participating in this course. We'd like to thank our sponsors. We'd love to thank the Idaho Innovation Center, the Idaho Small Business Development Center, and their amazing team here. The Greater Idaho Falls Chamber of Commerce, they were a big sponsor in making this happen, and of course Volpine Marketing. So I hope that you gained a good amount from this course. I hope that you enjoyed being here with us. As always, I'm just going to do my best to be a resource for you in the future. So even well after the course is ended, I hope you reach out to me with whatever questions you have, and I'm going to do my best to serve you. If we have provided value, which I hope that we do, if you wouldn't mind taking the opportunity to review Volpine Marketing, that would be amazing for me. So this is kind of where you'd go to do that, bit.ly/Volpine Review. bit.ly/Volpine Review. And thank you guys so much once again for being with us. If you do have any questions, feel free to reach out. But if not, you guys have a good one, and I hope to keep in contact with a lot of you and kind of see your digital marketing journey. So thank you so much, and have a wonderful rest of your day.